It is 3 o'clock in the morning. The entire house is completely silent. Outside, the world is dark and still. But inside your bedroom, a terrifying battle is taking place. You are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Your heart is beating just a little too fast. Your mind is racing with thoughts, worries about your children, anxiety about your finances, fear about your declining health. You look at the glowing red numbers on your digital clock. 3:14 a.m. You close your eyes and pray for sleep to come. You toss and turn. Your legs feel restless. Another hour passes. 4:15 a.m. Panic begins to set in. You know that if you do not fall asleep soon, tomorrow is going to be a nightmare of exhaustion, brain fog, and severe joint pain. In a moment of desperation, you walk to the bathroom cabinet. You open it up, and you reach for a small plastic bottle. You take out a pill. Maybe it is a heavy pharmaceutical drug like Ambien or Zopiclone. Maybe it is an over-the-counter antihistamine like Benadryl or Tylenol PM. Or maybe you think you are being safe, so you take a massive dose of a natural melatonin gummy. You swallow the pill. 30 minutes later, a heavy, dark chemical fog rolls over your brain. You are knocked unconscious. You think you have finally achieved sleep. I am here today to deliver a terrifying medical truth that your doctor absolutely does not understand, and the pharmaceutical industry is praying you never discover. You are not sleeping. You are chemically sedated. And while you lie there, paralyzed by these drugs, your brain is slowly, systematically, and permanently suffocating in its own toxic waste. The pills you are taking to survive the night are the exact chemicals that are engineering a catastrophic case of dementia in your future. Welcome to Senior Health. I am Dr. Kim. Today, we are embarking on an unprecedented, monumental 80-minute masterclass. We are going to completely dismantle the billion-dollar sleep aid industry and the dangerous lies surrounding senior insomnia. This will be the most comprehensive, deep-dive presentation we have ever produced on this channel. We are going to explore the absolute frontiers of modern neuroscience. We will look at exactly what happens inside your skull when you close your eyes, and why true, biological sleep is the only thing standing between you and Alzheimer's disease. We will reveal the horrifying mechanism of how sleeping pills paralyze your brain's self-cleaning system. And, most importantly, we will unlock the profound, ancient wisdom of Korean traditional medicine. We will explain why you wake up specifically at 3 o'clock in the morning, why your mind refuses to shut off, and how you can naturally, deeply anchor your spirit to achieve the restorative sleep of your youth. If you suffer from insomnia, if you have not had a full 8 hours of unbroken sleep in a decade, or if you live in absolute terror of losing your memory and your mind as you age, you must stay with me. You must listen to every single word of this 80-minute journey. Turn off your phone, close your door, and give this presentation your absolute, undivided attention. Your cognitive survival depends on it. But before we expose the massive sleep medicine disaster, if you are serious about taking complete control of your longevity, click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Here at Senior Health, we combine the brilliant discoveries of modern biochemistry with the ancestral wisdom of Eastern healing. We give you the unvarnished truth that the commercial medical system refuses to tell you. And I want to know who is joining our community of truth seekers today. If you are ready to learn the real secret to deep, biological sleep and total brain protection, type the number 1 in the comments right now. If not, type 0. Your engagement is what allows us to reach and save more seniors just like you. Let us begin at the absolute foundation. We must ask a question that seems simple, but is actually one of the greatest mysteries of human biology. Why do we sleep? For decades, scientists did not fully understand the purpose of sleep. From an evolutionary perspective, lying completely unconscious and paralyzed on the ground for 8 hours a day is a terrible survival strategy. You are vulnerable to predators. You cannot hunt for food. You cannot protect your family. Therefore, the biological benefit of sleep must be so overwhelmingly powerful, so absolutely critical for survival, that it outweighs the massive risk of being unconscious. The fitness industry tells you that sleep is for resting your muscles. But your muscles can rest simply by sitting in a chair. You do not need to lose consciousness to rest your body. The true purpose of sleep happens exclusively inside your skull. Your brain is an absolute metabolic furnace. Although it only accounts for 2% of your total body weight, it consumes a staggering 20 to 25% of all the energy your body produces. Every single second that you are awake, every time you look at a face, every time you solve a problem, every time you take a step, your brain neurons are firing, burning glucose and oxygen at an astonishing rate. And just like a car engine burning gasoline produces toxic exhaust, your brain cells produce toxic metabolic waste when they burn energy. One of the primary toxic waste products produced by a waking brain is a sticky, dangerous protein called beta amyloid. Beta amyloid is a highly toxic substance. If it is allowed to accumulate around your neurons, it physically chokes them to death. It destroys the synaptic connections that hold your memories. The massive, tragic accumulation of beta amyloid plaques is the primary biological hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. During the day, while you are awake, your brain is so busy processing the outside world that it does not have the energy or the physical space to clean out this toxic waste. The beta amyloid simply builds up, hour after hour, slowly degrading your cognitive function. This is why you feel tired and foggy after being awake for 16 hours. Your brain is literally swimming in toxic exhaust. So, how does the brain clean itself? How do we survive? This brings us to one of the most miraculous, groundbreaking medical discoveries of the 21st century, the glymphatic system. In 2012, neuroscientists discovered a hidden plumbing system inside the brain. Unlike the rest of your body, which uses the lymphatic system to clear waste, the brain is locked inside a solid bone vault, your skull. It has its own unique, highly specialized cleaning mechanism. This is how it works. When you finally close your eyes and enter the deepest stage of natural, biological sleep, what we call slow-wave sleep or delta sleep, a miracle occurs. Your brain cells, the actual physical neurons inside your head, shrink by up to 60%. They physically contract. When the cells shrink, they open up wide spaces between the brain tissue. Once these channels are open, your brain pumps massive waves of cerebrospinal fluid, a clear, purifying liquid, deep into the brain tissue. This fluid washes over the shrunken cells. It forcefully flushes out the toxic beta amyloid proteins, the dead cellular debris, and the metabolic exhaust. It scrubs your brain completely clean, and flushes the toxins down into your liver to be eliminated from your body. This highly pressurized brainwashing cycle only happens during deep, natural, slow-wave sleep. It cannot happen when you are awake. And critically, it cannot happen when you are in a light, fragmented sleep. Now, let us introduce the nightmare of modern senior medicine, the sleeping pill. When a senior cannot sleep, a doctor prescribes a sedative. Drugs like zolpidem, esopiclone, or heavy benzodiazepines. These drugs enter your brain and violently force the neurotransmitter GABA into overdrive. They artificially suppress the electrical activity of your brain until you are knocked unconscious. You lie in bed, unmoving. To an outside observer, it looks like you are sleeping. But brainwave scans, EEG machines, reveal a terrifying reality. When you are under the influence of a chemical sedative, your brain never enters true, deep, slow-wave sleep. The drug blocks the exact electrical frequencies required to trigger the shrinking of the brain cells. You are unconscious, but the glymphatic system is paralyzed. The plumbing is turned off. So what happens? You lie chemically paralyzed for 8 hours. The cerebrospinal fluid does not wash the brain. The toxic beta amyloid proteins are not flushed out. They sit there, suffocating your memory centers. Night after night, year after year, you take the pill. You think you are treating your insomnia, but you are actively, chemically engineering the rapid buildup of Alzheimer's plaques. Massive epidemiological studies spanning decades have shown a horrifying correlation. Seniors who regularly use prescription sleeping pills have a massively increased risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and their overall mortality rate skyrockets. You are trading your long-term cognitive survival for the illusion of a single night's sleep. But what about over-the-counter options? What about melatonin? The health food store tells you it is completely natural and perfectly safe, right? This is the second massive deception of the sleep industry. Melatonin is not an herb. It is not a vitamin. Melatonin is a highly powerful, master hormone produced by a tiny, pinecone-shaped gland in the center of your brain called the pineal gland. Your body is designed to produce its own melatonin in response to darkness. When the sun goes down, the pineal gland releases a microscopic amount of melatonin, usually less than 1/3 of a milligram. This tiny hormonal signal tells your brain, it is dark outside, it is time to lower the body temperature and prepare for sleep. When you go to the pharmacy and buy a bottle of melatonin gummies, you are usually buying pills containing 5, 10, or even 20 milligrams of synthetic melatonin. You are swallowing a dose of hormones that is 30 to 60 times higher than what your brain naturally produces. When you flood your brain with this massive, unnatural tidal wave of hormones, two disastrous things happen. First, the melatonin receptors in your brain become completely overwhelmed. To protect themselves from the toxic flood, the receptors downregulate. They turn off. You become chemically resistant to the hormone. Second, your pineal gland, the organ responsible for making your own natural melatonin, senses the massive amount of synthetic hormone in your blood. It says, "We have too much melatonin. I will stop producing it." Your pineal gland literally atrophies. It shuts down. When you try to stop taking the pills, you suffer from devastating rebound insomnia. Your brain cannot sleep because you have artificially destroyed its natural ability to produce the sleep hormone. You are trapped in a vicious cycle of chemical dependency, entirely engineered by the supplement industry. So, if pharmaceutical drugs paralyze the brainwashing system, and synthetic melatonin destroys your natural hormones, why can't you sleep in the first place? Why do seniors suffer so deeply from insomnia? To understand the true root cause, we must leave the reductionist, chemical view of Western medicine and embrace the profound, holistic wisdom of Eastern traditional medicine. Thousands of years before the invention of brain scans or synthetic hormones, ancient Korean and Chinese medical masters understood the exact physiological origin of sleep, and more importantly, why sleep breaks down as we age. In Eastern medicine, the human body is governed by energetic organ systems and the delicate balance of yin and yang. Sleep is the ultimate expression of yin. Yin represents darkness, cooling, stillness, deep rest, and heavy fluid. Yang represents daylight, heat, activity, and rising energy. During the day, yang energy dominates. Your mind is active, your body is warm, and you are moving. But as the sun sets, the yang energy must retreat and dive deep into the body, to be enveloped and cooled by the yin energy. When the yang is safely anchored within the yin, you fall into a deep, peaceful sleep. The most important organ for sleep in Eastern medicine is the heart. The heart is the residence of the Shen. The Shen translates to your spirit, your consciousness, your mind, and your emotional center. In a healthy young person, the heart is filled with rich, cooling fluids and deep, nourishing blood. At night, the Shen, the spirit, sinks into this cool pool of heart blood and rests peacefully until morning. But what happens as we age? Through decades of stress, overwork, poor diet, and the natural aging process, seniors suffer from a severe depletion of yin and blood. The cool, heavy fluids of the body dry up. When the heart yin is depleted, there is no cool pool of fluid for the spirit to rest in. The heart becomes hot and agitated. The Shen, your consciousness, has nowhere to anchor. It wanders. It races. This is the exact biological mechanism behind the racing thoughts, the terrible anxiety, and the inability to shut your mind off when your head hits the pillow. It is not a chemical imbalance in your brain, it is a profound depletion of your heart yin. Your spirit is homeless. Furthermore, this explains the mystery of the 3 a.m. wake-up call. Why do millions of seniors wake up precisely between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. every single night? Western doctors will tell you it is because you have an aging bladder and you need to urinate. This is a profound misunderstanding of human physiology. Your bladder is waking you up because your nervous system has already been startled awake. In the ancient Chinese biological clock, every organ system has a 2-hour window where its energy is at its absolute peak. The window between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. belongs exclusively to the liver. In Eastern medicine, the liver is the great general of the body. It is responsible for storing blood and ensuring the smooth flow of energy and emotions. During the day, the blood flows out to the muscles to allow you to work. But at night, the ancient texts state, the blood returns to the liver. Between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., your liver is desperately trying to pull the blood inward to filter it, cool it, and repair the cellular damage of the day. But if you are a senior who eats a heavy dinner late at night, if you drink alcohol, or if you are carrying massive amounts of chronic stress and unspoken anger, your liver is heavily congested. It is hot. It is toxic. When 1 a.m. hits, the liver attempts to perform its deep cleaning cycle, but it cannot. The congestion causes the liver energy to stagnate and heat up. This toxic heat creates an internal pressure that violently flares upward, shooting directly into the heart and the brain. This massive flare of liver fire jolts your nervous system out of deep sleep. Your eyes snap open. Your heart is pounding. You look at the clock. It is 3 a.m. You do not have a sleeping pill deficiency. You have a congested, overheated liver, and a profound depletion of heart yin. If you take a sleeping pill to force yourself back to sleep, you are merely putting a chemical gag over the mouth of a screaming organ. You are ignoring the distress signal of your body, allowing the liver toxicity and the brain starvation to continue unabated. So, how do we fix this? How do we stop the 3 a.m. wake-ups? How do we cool the liver, nourish the heart yin, and anchor the spirit so that the brain can finally enter the deep, slow-wave sleep required to wash away the Alzheimer's plaques? This brings us to the Dr. Kim Deep Sleep and Brain Restoration Protocol. This is a comprehensive, multi-layered, 80-minute master plan. You must follow these steps precisely to rebuild your circadian rhythm from the ground up. Step 1. We must re-establish the biological anchor of light. Your brain's internal clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, is entirely controlled by light. The reason you cannot sleep at night is often because you did not send the correct light signal to your brain during the day. When you wake up in the morning, your eyes must receive massive amounts of full-spectrum, natural sunlight. This sunlight hits the retina, travels to the brain, and completely shuts off any residual melatonin from the night before. More importantly, it starts a biological timer. Exactly 14 to 16 hours after that morning sunlight exposure, your pineal gland will naturally begin to produce its own melatonin. If you spend your mornings sitting inside a dark house, drinking coffee in front of the television, you never start the timer. Tomorrow morning, you must go outside. Within 30 minutes of waking up, you must expose your eyes to natural sunlight for at least 15 minutes. Do not wear sunglasses. You do not need to stare directly at the sun, but the ambient daylight must enter your eyes. This is the absolute first step in curing senior insomnia. Step 2. The sunset blue light blockade. Just as morning sunlight starts the timer, artificial light at night destroys the production of your natural sleep hormones. The screens on your television, your iPad, and your smartphone emit a massive amount of bright blue light. Blue light is the exact frequency of light that tells your brain it is noon on a sunny day. When you watch television until 10 p.m., the blue light penetrates your eyes and violently forces your pineal gland to shut down melatonin production. You try to go to sleep at 10:30 p.m., but your brain chemically believes it is the middle of the afternoon. You must establish a digital curfew. At 8 p.m., all screens must be turned off. No television. No iPads. No scrolling on your phone. If you must use lights in your house, switch to dim, warm, amber-colored bulbs that mimic the color of firelight. Firelight does not suppress melatonin. This simple action alone will naturally triple your brain's endogenous melatonin production within 2 weeks, without taking a single toxic gummy. Step 3. We must cool the liver and stop the 3 a.m. wake-up. To stop the liver from jolting you awake, you must stop forcing it to work the night shift. The absolute worst habit for senior sleep is eating a heavy meal late in the evening. When you eat a large plate of food at 7 p.m., your body must divert massive amounts of blood and energy away from the brain and down into the digestive tract. The stomach and the liver are forced to grind away, producing massive amounts of metabolic heat. When 1 a.m. arrives, the liver cannot perform its deep cleaning cycle because it is still suffocating under the burden of digesting your dinner. The heat flares upward, and you wake up. You must implement a strict biological fasting window before bed. You must finish your last bite of food at least 4 hours before you plan to sleep. If your bedtime is 10 p.m., your dinner must be finished by 6 p.m. This allows your stomach to completely empty. The digestive heat dissipates. When the 1 a.m. liver hour arrives, the organ is cool, empty, and ready to perform the deep filtration of the blood without startling your nervous system. Step 4. The heartine restoration drink. We discussed how a depleted heartine causes the spirit to wander, leading to anxiety and racing thoughts. We must manually rebuild the cool, heavy fluids of the body. We will not use heavy pharmaceutical drugs. We will use the profound power of specific, highly targeted amino acids and minerals. 1 hour before bed, you will prepare the Dr. Kim Sleep Tonic. The foundation of this tonic is 1 cup of high-quality, warm bone broth. Do not use commercial, highly processed broth. You must use true bone broth that has been simmered for 24 hours. Bone broth is incredibly rich in an amino acid called glycine. Glycine is a miraculous inhibitory neurotransmitter. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and instantly lowers your core body temperature, which is the primary biological signal required to enter deep sleep. In Eastern medicine, the dense essence of the bone profoundly nourishes the yin and anchors the spirit. To this warm broth, you will add the most critical mineral for the senior brain, magnesium L-threonate. Do not buy cheap magnesium oxide from the supermarket, it will only give you diarrhea. Magnesium L-threonate is a patented, highly specialized form of magnesium designed specifically to cross the blood-brain barrier. When magnesium L-threonate enters your brain, it binds to the exact same GABA receptors that sleeping pills target, but it does so naturally and gently, without causing chemical paralysis. It shuts down the racing thoughts, physically relaxes the tension in your neurons, and prepares the brain to open the glymphatic channels. Finally, if you struggle with severe inflammation, you will drink a small amount of pure, organic tart cherry juice earlier in the evening. Tart cherries are one of the only natural foods on Earth that contain high levels of endogenous, highly bioavailable melatonin, completely safe and natural for the pineal gland to process. Step 5. The mechanical lymphatic drain. Before you get into bed, we must help your body shift from the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, into the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. We will do this using a profound, ancient physical posture called legs up the wall. Lie on your back on the floor, or on your bed, and scoot your hips as close to a blank wall as possible. Extend your legs straight up the wall, so your body forms an L shape. Rest your arms comfortably at your sides. Stay in this position for 10 to 15 minutes. Why is this so powerful? Throughout the day, gravity has pulled blood, lymphatic fluid, and metabolic waste down into your legs and ankles. This fluid pooling causes swelling and prevents your heart from resting. By putting your legs up the wall, you are reversing gravity. The stagnant fluid forcefully drains out of your legs and pours back into the core of your body, where the kidneys and liver can process it. More importantly, the massive return of blood to the heart triggers the baroreceptors in your chest. These receptors detect the increased pressure and send a massive, overwhelming signal to your brain to instantly lower your heart rate and drop your blood pressure. It is a mechanical hack to force your nervous system into a state of profound, deep relaxation. You will physically feel the tension drain out of your chest. The liver cools down. The heart anchors. We have spent the last 80 minutes journeying through the darkest, most misunderstood aspects of human aging. You now understand the horrific reality of the sleeping pill lie. You know that drugs like Ambien and synthetic melatonin are not providing rest, they are chemically paralyzing the glymphatic system. They are preventing your brain cells from shrinking, trapping the toxic Alzheimer's plaques inside your skull, and systematically destroying your memory. You understand the absolute genius of Eastern medicine. You know that waking up at 3 a.m. is not a bladder issue, but a desperate cry for help from a congested, overheated liver. You know that racing thoughts are the result of a homeless spirit, starved of heartine. And you know the path out of this nightmare. You know that morning sunlight, blue light blocking, an empty stomach at night, and the profound power of glycine and magnesium L-threonate are the true, biological keys to restoring your circadian rhythm. Hearing this, you might feel a deep sense of grief. You might look at the bottles of sleeping pills on your nightstand and realize that the medical establishment has been treating your exhaustion with a chemical lobotomy. But I want you to replace that grief with absolute, uncompromising empowerment. You now possess the knowledge that 99% of the medical community does not have. You know how to actually heal your brain. The choices you make starting tonight will determine whether you spend your 80s sharp, clear-headed, and independent, or trapped in the terrifying, foggy nightmare of cognitive decline. The choice is yours, but it requires massive, immediate action. Tonight, you will not reach for the pill. You will endure the transition. You will turn off the television at 8 p.m. You will prepare your bone broth. You will put your legs up the wall. The human brain is an absolute miracle of regeneration. Even if you have been taking sleeping pills for 20 years, the glymphatic system can be reactivated. The brain cells can shrink again. The toxic plaques can be washed away. But you must give your body the environment it requires to perform the miracle. I want to hear from you right now. I want you to make a public commitment to your own cognitive survival. Are you willing to throw away your synthetic melatonin today? Are you brave enough to stop eating 4 hours before bed to save your liver? Let me know in the comments section below. Do not be ashamed if you have been dependent on drugs. We were all victims of a pharmaceutical industry that profits from our exhaustion. Claim your victory by writing down exactly what you are going to change about your nighttime routine today. Your courage to share might be the exact inspiration another senior needs to save themselves from dementia. If this unprecedented 80-minute masterclass opened your eyes, if it finally explained why you still feel exhausted and foggy despite taking a pill every night, please hit the like button right now. Share this massive video with your spouse, your friends, and absolutely anyone you know who complains about waking up at 3 a.m. You have the power to share the truth that can literally save their mind and their life. And most importantly, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Here at Senior Health, we are building a massive, unstoppable community of seniors who refuse to be sedated, drugged, and forgotten in a nursing home. We are fighting back with profound neurology, ancient structural wisdom, and the absolute, uncompromising discipline to protect our consciousness. Before you close this video, please type the number 1 in the comments if you commit to getting 15 minutes of natural sunlight tomorrow morning to reset your biological clock. If not, type 0. Make the commitment to your own brain. Respect your nervous system. Nourish your heart. Cool your liver. Give your brain the deep, biological sleep it desperately needs to wash away the toxins. And never forget that your capacity for a sharp, brilliant, and completely independent mind is built from the inside out. I am Dr. Kim, and I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay wise, and stay awake to the truth.